So I had to come up with a solution on how to mount these MaxTrax on this GoFastCamper and still be able to fit this into my garage due to height issues. So I'm going to show you the bracket system that I came up with, and then after this video, if you're interested in doing something similar, I have the instructions that I did or a demonstration of how I put it all together. So to start off with, these have these MaxTrax mounting pins, and I'll tell you what, they are kind of a bear to operate. They're super tough. It takes a lot of grip strength. In fact, this one I'm having problems with right now. Oh, now there it worked. These MaxTrax mounting pins have like a little hole right here where you can put a padlock on there, and they're super tiny, and I didn't like the way that operates, so I ended up getting this cable right here and just using a regular padlock. And this cable serves two purposes. One is its theft detection. Two, it secures the MaxTrax to the vehicle. It keeps us nice and snug against the vehicle. If for some reason this fails, this is going to keep it secure, and it won't keep it from flying off the vehicle down the road, causing major problems. Plus it's theft detection. So the other thing is too, these MaxTrax, I didn't want to keep them in the back of my truck. They take up a lot of space, and as you can see, we needed them yesterday. We got stuck in some snow, in some mud, and look how filthy they are after you actually use them. So I want to keep this on the exterior of my vehicle. So this is a solution that worked. Things you got to keep in mind is you got to be able to open the side door. There's a clearance issue right here. So another clearance issue is you have to get these MaxTrax bolts to clear away from the rooftop tent as it lifts. So you got three clearance issues actually. You got the side door, the MaxTrax mounting pin bolt, and then the third clearance issue is you need to be able to open both your driver and passenger and rear doors. So this solution I came up with answers all those questions, and it's a solution. So let me show you the actual mounting bracket. So these mounting pins you gotta turn and kind of lock them in place, and the MaxTrax come right off. And so here you'll see, this is an Axia Alloy MaxTrax mount that I purchased from Axia Alloys. And if you look on the back side here, this is the no clamp option, and this came with it. So I utilized this to mount the Axia Alloys to this piece. This is a piece I purchased off of Amazon, and I'll put a link to that down below. The one modification I needed to do was drill a hole right here in order to make it fit on this piece. So I drilled a hole on this piece, mounting up with this hole. These right here are the GFC universal, or also known as awning brackets, and this is all of their hardware. This is the second bracket. So what this bracket does is it forces it out away from the rooftop tent so it can open. It forces it away from the vehicle so the vehicle can open, and then you just have to watch your height. So this is low enough to where I can fit it, barely fit it into an 84 inch garage. So, and then what I do is this just slides up underneath, and then it goes through the two handholds of the MaxTrax, and then I clamp it together with a padlock. If you want to make it even tighter, you can cinch them up that way and then padlock it all together. So yeah, that's my solution. So if that's something you want to do, I have a little installation video, watch it, and there's a few extra items that you need to purchase. They're super cheap. I got them at Lowe's, and I'll put that in the video also. So thanks. So this is what the MaxTrax look like when you're driving down a Forest Service road at about 25 miles per hour. You do get some vibration on that front mount of the MaxTrax, and it seems to hold up okay so far. I have had no problems with it. I started off by mounting the Axia Alloys MaxTrax mount to the GFC universal / awning bracket. I then dry fitted the awning bracket to the extrusion of the rooftop tent. The reason I dry fitted it because I wanted to make sure everything would fit. If I would be able to fit the MaxTrax into my garage and also still open up the door on my truck, along with opening the side door on the GoFastCamper and opening up the rooftop tent. After getting the two brackets mounted to the extrusion, I then attached the MaxTrax mounting pins to the Axia Alloys, and I made sure everything would fit. And like I said, it's a little bit of work to kind of line everything up. I want to make sure that the door would open. In that example, it did not open, so I needed to move everything slightly forward to make sure that it can open. So it cleared the side door, so the next test was to see if I could clear the garage door. Once I can confirm that it would fit in the garage, the final thing I wanted to check was, would the rooftop tent open up with those MaxTrax mounting pins sticking out the back? And it did open up. After making sure everything looked good as far as clearances, I then marked each GFC universal awning bracket with a pencil. I used a silver Sharpie to mark the hole that would need to be drilled for the forward-facing Axia Alloys mount. I then drilled the hole through the metal. This is the piece of metal I purchased off of Amazon to cause the MaxTrax to extrude out past the front of the truck. So the way I attached that front mount to the metal piece from Amazon was using the metal piece that came with the mount from Axia Alloys. And so it's basically two bolts. The bolts I had purchased from Lowe's because they needed to be a little bit longer, and then I used Loctite. I then secured the second Axia Alloys mount to the GFC universal awning bracket using nylon lock nuts. I then lined everything up, and when you got to install these GFC universal awning brackets, you're supposed to use Loctite when you attach it to the tent. Now this forward piece is a little tricky to mount because you have to mount the awning bracket to the tent first and then attach the metal piece to the awning bracket, because you can't actually tighten the GFC hardware. It's blocked by that metal piece from Amazon. So this is where a second set of hands comes in super handy to put that on the awning bracket. So the final thing is to put the MaxTrax up there, make sure everything's fitting good, and then I went through and I just make sure everything was properly tightened. And there you have it. That's how I mounted MaxTrax to my GoFastCamper, and I was still able to park in the garage. Hey, thanks for watching, and hopefully you learned something here if you're trying to figure out the solution on how to mount MaxTrax to your own GoFastCamper. This is the solution that worked for me. It may not work for you, but I figured you probably want to see how I did it, and you could learn something from it. So if you like this kind of stuff, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. I'll be doing a lot of outdoor adventuring and trail running and Spartan racing in the near future. Thanks. Bye.